Hello, hello, MouseHunt. Hello, welcome. Feedback Friday. It is April 13th. Friday the 13th. Spooky. Ooh. How's everybody doing in the chat? Have a few people hanging out with us. Hello there, Jason and Ben, Grant, Dennis, Michelle, KDM, hello. How y'all doing in the chat today? Jackreet, hello. Eileen, hello. Yudhishrira? Don't think I said your name right. I apologize. Hubert, whoa, look at all these people just came in. Hello, hello. I guess a lot of people just got a notification. Whoa, we went from 4 to over a dozen very quickly. Well, hello. Today, Feedback Friday on this Friday the 13th is going to be especially focused on feedback. We've been exploring some concepts, some designs, prototypes, and we're looking to get a little bit of feedback to help guide us which direction we're going to go in with some of these upcoming ideas. The whole team's going to meet this afternoon and go over a whole bunch of kind of prototypes and concepts that we've all put together and share, and we're going to figure out which direction to go into and our plans for next week. So it's a kind of good time to do a Feedback Friday, share some of those ideas, get some comments, suggestions, and feedback from hunters. Hello, hello in the chat as well. There's a whole bunch of more hellos pouring in. Steve says, "What up, mousy butt?" I don't know how to respond to that. Good morning, Jay. Aurora asks about an Archduke area. Actually, you know what? As a good little precursor here, let me see if I can find that. If you recall, January, we did Feedback Friday and looked at the year ahead. There it is, January 11th. I have my little notes here. We looked at the year ahead, and this will kind of be a good way to start things off. We had the King's Giveaway in late January, Lunar New Year event in February, 10th birthday event in early March, the Spring Egg Hunt in late March, which brings us to the end of event season, and we were kind of, in January, we were already putting some ideas together for a count law area, and we're going to discuss that today. Sunken City dive headings, we ended up not really having a whole lot of love for that idea. It didn't really flesh out the way we did. I don't think that one's going to happen. That said, probably Relic Hunter season will sort of take the place of where that was going to fit in. Laboratory and Mausoleum overhaul, we're going to talk about that today as well. And then the Archduke, Archduchess area, which I think I marked there. Ambitious idea, might not be released. We're actually going over that a little bit this afternoon. I won't speak about it in Feedback Friday today because it's still pretty early on, but it's definitely ambitious. I don't know if it'll make it for this year, but we shall see. So we'll jump right into a new law area, and I'll put up, as usual, my handsome collage effects here. So the new law area will continue past Fort Rocks. It's going to likely involve Mice Week 2 Law, obviously, as well as Shadow and Arcane, because it kind of leads after Fort Rocks, so you'll be able to put some of the traps that you're in Fort Rocks to good use. We're currently exploring two ideas that are rather different. One is themed as a Wild West horse race, and the other involves drilling into the soil for delicious queso cheese. The two ideas are quite different. In one sort of focuses on a lot of unique mechanics and tracking progress from the HUD, while the other is more focused on loot collection and crafting to work your way up through tiers of mice. Some excitement about law. K-soil, brilliant, says Jason. I think Giorgio came up with K-soil. And you kind of got the derricks, and you're drilling down, and for some reason there's delicious, delicious K-soil cheese underneath the soil. So first we'll go over the horse race here, and I'll try to keep up with the chat to both speak and read simultaneously. I don't know if that's in my repertoire of talents, but we'll find out. The idea was originally inspired by a prototype that we actually put together for the 10th birthday event. We were kind of doing your betting on a mouse race, and then sort of that gave some inspiration. It also grew to include some inspiration from the 2015 Great Winter Hunt Extreme Toboggan Challenge. So maybe even just quickly in the chat here, how many hunters took part in the 2015 Great Winter Hunt and remember the Extreme Toboggan Challenge? You were kind of racing down a hill, and you had an adversary mouse, and you were chasing them. You encountered some obstacles, and you could upgrade your toboggan along the way to overcome those obstacles. Collection one, please. I did, me, me, me. I was there, I did, me, me, me. The toboggan was fun. Yeah, that one was fun. Okay, so it looks like the majority. I haven't seen anyone that didn't take part or doesn't remember the 2015 toboggan. But we drew a little bit of inspiration from there. So you can kind of imagine you're going to be on this over-the-top mechanical horse. You can kind of take some inspiration as well. That is the Steel Horse Rider mouse. I forget what the exact name is. There might be a pop culture reference in that mouse probably. You're going to have this over-the-top mechanical horse. You can upgrade it over time and pit it against jockey-themed mice, which are doing the exact same. So you can kind of, again, drew some inspiration from the toboggan race. Oh, Kate said she missed the 2015 event. Well, then it's new to you. Jason liked the race. Travis thinks it was good. Now it'll kind of be a little bit different. You're going to enter the race probably against multiple opponents. You win rewards based on where you're finished. Similar to the Extreme Toboggan Challenge, you're going to accelerate by capturing mice. If you fail to capture a mouse, that's going to spook your horse and it'll slow you down. During the race, you'll find upgrade components as well as loot drops, improve your acceleration, max speed, help you avoid course obstacles, and winning the races will progress you up through the ranks so you can take on more difficult challenges. So again, kind of some parallels to the toboggan event where you started on the green circle and you worked your way up to the double black diamond. Patricia says sounds fun. KDM says the main point of the toboggan race was not the race but instead the bonus crates. That is correct. You always earned upgrade parts from the toboggan race by finishing the race, and depending what course you chose, you got area-specific loot if you beat your adversary. So if you tried a course that was a little too hard before you fully upgraded your toboggan, you might miss out on the area-specific rewards, but you still got some upgrade components to help you in the next race. So it'll be a little bit more fleshed out, a little bit more long-term, obviously being a permanent area. Kind of have the flexibility where we know you don't need to be able to finish it in exactly 3-4 weeks. It could be a little bit more grand. And with that, gives some liberties to make it different from the toboggan, work a little differently, at least in terms of the reward structure. Lukita asks if this is a new zone or some kind of new event, a new area. So we're kind of event season has come to a close. Spring Egg Hunt, well, I guess not officially a close yet, but the Spring Egg Hunt is sort of our last event until Halloween. And so the summer is when we often work on new areas, quality of life improvements, new features, that sort of thing. So this is the first of 2 ideas that we're exploring for our count level law area. Julia asks, what kind of rewards? Haven't really thought that through too much, so we're open to suggestions, definitely. Sounds like fail to catch, drain more battery, red box, drain. Yeah, I mean, in a lot of areas, using the whether you catch a mouse or not to sort of determine the outcomes of some sort of greater meta is definitely a common theme. Will there be an ability for us to use rewards after we finish the area, getting King's credits or the Claw crates? Potentially, again, it's sort of, we often consider the reward structure not last, but we often don't spin our wheels working through the reward structure until the rest of it sort of comes together, and that lends itself easier to know reward structure from there. Better law traps, maybe. There will certainly be new law traps. Would you like to see a new law trap as a reward, no matter sort of what area we end up adding? Now, Fort Rocks just added the current best-in-game law trap, which is the core trap, as well as Shadow and Arcane, which for that title of Hunters is an impressive trap. There will likely be a new law trap available for sale in the shop. Now, it won't be as good as the core trap, but if you struggle to obtain the core trap, because it's certainly difficult to acquire, you'll have a small upgrade to help you along the way in this area. This at least is a current plan. Maybe a horse race to catch some thief mice. That kind of thematically goes well with law, sort of cracking down on troublesome mice. An upgrade to the Meteor Prison Core. That's an interesting suggestion from KDM. That might fit. That might be a good fit in that it won't sort of devalue the core trap being just right in the last area and it being so difficult to get. A lot of it would come down to how difficult the new trap is in the new area if we add one, whether it makes sense to sort of supersede it or whether to make it an upgrade. I basically bought the meteor trap off the marketplace. Well, you can get a lot of the supplies you need, but you still need to upgrade all your traps. You need to make it to dawn. You definitely need to sink your teeth into Fort Rocks a little bit. Sally has a comment that's a good segue to my next little feedback question about this area. Sally says, not too keen about the race. Sounds like it might be the trains after most people finish it, they're done with it. We're also exploring the idea for the races to be able to challenge other hunters or potentially work cooperatively. So you could challenge a friend and race against them. There'd be other sort of mice in the race as well. But we are a little apprehensive about the multiplayer aspect since it may be hard to find other players that are interested in a race as the area ages, which certainly the train suffers from that. Now, keeping in mind it wouldn't be a requirement for the area, but sort of a fun little addition that you could take on. Maybe you could bet your friend some gold on the outcome of your race. Like, oh, I'll beat you around the old dusty track. Wisely asks, could anyone explain the K-soil reference again? Well, we'll get to that next. In the next law area idea that we're looking for feedback on, has to do with drilling for queso cheese deep in the soil. So we took queso, oil, K-soil became the pun there. Challenge friends. The first two lawyers were very multiplayer. Definitely Clawshot City and the train were both, I don't think experimental is the right word, but they were sort of exploring the concept of taking other things in the game and giving them an area or a twist on it. So I believe Varmint Valley is sort of a twist on treasure maps, the wanted poster, and the train is a twist on tournaments. But that didn't go so well with the train, says Flepa. I would tend to agree. A horse race requires some train badges. Actually, we'll circle back on that because both of these ideas, considering reusing some existing materials, which maybe I hint at with my handsome collage, as I like to call it. Queso equals cheese in Spanish. Yes. And the whole time while we talk about queso, it just makes me want nachos in the worst way. KDM says community mechanics work better during events, not permanent content. I would agree with you as well. Because everyone's sort of all in the same spot, focused on the same thing. There's a lot of interest all in something all at once. Handsome collage, I like it. Glad to hear. All right, well, we'll move on now to Queso Canyon is what we've called the second law area idea here, striking it rich in Queso Canyon. Now this is sort of returns to a format that we haven't seen before, or not seen before, haven't seen in quite some time, I meant to say, where progressing through an adventure would involve multiple locations. So think something along the lines of Living Garden or the Tribal Isles, where you're visiting multiple locations to collect different things, but they all are sort of linked together in one greater adventure, whether it's capturing Twisted Carmine or capturing the dragon. Now in Queso Canyon, you would construct derricks, like an oil derrick, but it's a K-soil derrick to extract valuable K-soil from underground as loot drops from mice. So you'll be able to upgrade these derricks over time using materials, build bigger ones, and that it makes the mice drop more and more Queso, the bigger derricks that you've built up. You'll be able to then use the K-soil to craft various flavors of queso cheese. So whether it's mild, medium, spicy, or flaming hot queso, and that's going to control the sort of tier of mice that you encounter. So the most valuable mice will like the extremely spicy cheese that you can craft, whereas sort of the lower tier, less valuable mice will like the milder versions of queso. But of course, you're going to use the mild queso to collect spices to make the medium queso, to collect spices to make the hot queso, to make spices to get the flaming quesos. So a lot of kind of crafting tiered mechanics. And something we are curious about is this idea, because we haven't done it in a little bit, is one adventure that spans multiple locations. Like I said, Tribal Isles, Living Garden. What do hunters in the chat think about that? I think I saw some positive comments. Nachos. Yes, I agree. Julian Ryan. I'm going to want nachos by the end of this. Queso Canyon is very catchy. Alliteration always is. CT asks what title? No, when is this area coming out? No release date. Somebody must have asked what title is. It's going to be Count. Sounds awesome. Sounds like a mix of Tribal Isles and Fungal Cavern. It's definitely sort of bread and butter mouse hunt gameplay, right? Where you're using cheese to capture a mouse that drops something so that you can make cheese to get another mouse that drops something else and working your way up the ladder. It's very passive friendly as well, right? Because you're collecting, how big of a run do you want to do? Collect up lots of stuff, craft it into the next thing, use it all up. So the upgrading cheese system is like King's Gauntlet. I'm sure you could find many, many areas of the game where the cheese crafting system will feel very similar. Feroma is sort of the classic example that we always we refer to them as Feroma type progression areas, right? Where you're getting the students to get the masters of the dojo, and then extra bonus on top to then go for the sensei. Areas need to have longevity, says Maz, so that sounds good. It is a benefit for areas that are primarily loot based. It's easy to sort of give very above and beyond long-term goals to the area. Because it's all about, do you want to put more time into the area, whereas the ones where they're more HUD-based, they often have a very strong completion sort of moment where you feel like you're definitely done. Horse race could be a location in Queso Canyon. That's certainly an option as well. Why not both? To quote an internet meme, I suppose. There's only so much time, so these are sort of the two ideas that we're exploring. That said, it's not like we would permanently delete or forget about one forever, or quite often previous ideas give inspiration to future ones. Queso Canyon sounds like a magically delicious place, says Julie. I agree. I would love to visit a place where there's endless amounts of queso, although it might not be good for the waistline or the cholesterol levels. That's a lot of cheese to be eating. Sort of preemptively here as well, so we're thinking 2 or 3 areas to continue with this Queso Canyon idea. The queso field is where you'd go to collect your queso, and that would be sort of the main crafting ingredient that you need to make queso cheese. The prickly plains, it's always just sort of placeholder names for everything, but the prickly plains, you'd go and you'd collect spices or different ingredients, and that's where you're going to go and be able to make spicier versions of queso with the stuff that you collect there. And the Cantera Quarry, where you would collect metal or supplies to then upgrade your derricks. So from a mechanics perspective, the queso fields are where you sort of get the main ingredient that you need throughout the whole thing. The prickly plains is where you go to collect stuff to make higher quality cheese, because you're getting better spices. And the quarry is where you would then go to get a greater quantity of things, because you're going there, you collect metals to upgrade your derricks to get more queso. Now you can make cheese faster, but not necessarily better cheese. So then you'd have to go to the plains to then make better cheese. And of course, eventually then, cool, and I have my quantity and my quality all maxed out. I have really good cheese and I can make lots of it really fast. An aura for winning the race for a few days. That's an interesting suggestion for the horse race as well. How about a set bonus for law areas? Something maybe worth exploring. We did a touch of that in Varmint Valley, but it got a little awkward. Again, part of our long-term goal too, we want to take law and sort of incorporate it more into the overall progression of the game. Right now it felt, at least with Clawshot City and the train, they felt very siloed. Always thought it was odd that the reward for doing the train is things to make you better at the train. I think we'd rather have everything sort of feel more cohesive and synergize with one another. Because I did this, now I'm a little bit better at this, so that I'm a little bit better at that. Did he say upgrade or derricks? Yes, but derricks as in D-E-R-R-I-C-K, I think. I think I misspelled it about 10,000 times while typing up various different documents. I spelled it like the name Derek a few times. One time I forgot the C, a couple times one R. So I think I've learned how to spell Derek as in an oil derrick. You can kind of think like either those triangle things with the grid, or like a grasshopper one does this, pumping oil out of the guy. Poor Derek, says Julia. And all the while, because the mouse hunt dev Derek, he went back to school. He moved away, and so now these are bringing back fond memories, but a little tear here and there as we're reminded of Derek, as we're constantly saying the word Derek over and over. Yeah, and Oliver says the claw shot base was awkward because it was outclassed by other equipment, and I would agree. That's what kind of makes the set effects a little bit weird if they're just power and luck bonuses. That's why I'm not too keen on them. It's hard to get them to feel nice and scale and have longevity, because eventually something might come out that is more powerful than the set effect provides. And I kind of like things you earn elsewhere will help you in other areas, so you don't always feel like there's this set in stone, no choice, this is the best setup. It's like, if I go get the Minotaur base, then I'm going to be better at other things. Whereas if I ignore the Minotaur base, then I'll just use the area-specific base. It's kind of nice that they all synergize. There's things to collect from everywhere that'll help you throughout the game. Most loot-heavy areas will eventually be over. I think that can be said for everything, though. I mean, eventually you've accomplished everything there is in an area, and new goals need to come out. Because no matter what you do, eventually you're done. There's definitely above and beyond goals, and King's Crowns is a good example of adding above and beyond stuff, or a lot of times crafting sort of above and beyond trap. So not even specifically, I think maybe I missed it in the chat, does anyone have any reservations or any sort of negative comments about having an adventure that spans multiple locations? Or preferences, right? A lot of the newer areas, the HUD would be how you sort of shift between things. Trying now to think of a good example. To a degree, the Fungal Cavern, but it's not a perfect example. But that's more of the types of cheese are changing where you're going. Froma Rift as an example, right? You can charge your batteries here, and then you send your droid in. Rather than that, that could have been 2 locations, right? You're in the training grounds to collect energy, and then you go in to the pagoda when you're ready to use your energy. One location makes it easier to go on hunts with friends. That's definitely a very valid point. Kate says she doesn't like areas like that. Can you be more specific about sort of what makes you not like it? Is it, as Julia pointed out, it's harder to go on hunts with friends? Is it hard to remember sort of where to go for what? Brian likes the nostalgia of multiple areas. Your friends spread out. That might be, though, sort of between the lines a symptom of a bigger problem. Maybe making it easier to go on hunts with friends. Maybe playing with the idea of, you don't have to be in the same location. It's sort of been something in our idea bank for a while, the ability to sort of maybe pick a certain group of friends that you're especially tied to and said, no matter where you are, you're going to go on a hunt. It's definitely been a challenge as new players start the game, right? Often that they're friends with somebody who's higher level, and it's just, well, I'm never going to hunt with you. It's going to be a year before I'm, chasing after the same objective. It's been on our mind as well. I like having mini games in different areas that are all related. It's hard to remember the mechanics of an area when you haven't been there in a while. But is that compounded by having multiple locations? Like the garden, right? You games of each area. Yes. Yes, I have a certain group I hunt with all the time. I no doubt think that there would be positive, or there'd be positive feedback on overhauling the way friends work a little bit. We just sort of completed a lot of our R&D to be able to make friends a lot more flexible, make it not tied to Facebook, but still be some time before that's ready to go. But it'll be a step closer to being able to do a little bit more creative things with friends. We're a little bit limited in what we can do right now because of the functionality, the way it works. If you want to hunt with a team, just sign up for tournaments. You don't have to win them. Obviously, that's a bit of a workaround, but the fact that you know, there are people using that workaround sort of signals to us that, hey, maybe that should just be a feature, right? So you don't feel like you're doing something weird. It's just built right into the game. You could, you know, select a group of friends, and you could go on a hunt even if you're not in the same location. Can we get bigger maps, please? 5 people is not enough. That's a big change. That would make a lot of maps quite a bit quicker. It's just a little bit of a scary change. Living Garden is too much. Tribal Isles was just right, says Julie. There's a lot going on in the Living Garden. I think the phase shifting thing maybe adds a whole lot to sort of strain on your memory to remember how everything works. But the Tribal Isles is a little bit more straightforward, albeit it needs a heads-up display to help you track your loot drops, so you don't need to, you know, remember, okay, seashells, that's Elub, vegetables, that's Nerg, and stones, that's Dur. There you go, I was able to remember it. Jeremy finds it easier to remember when the mechanics are changed by moving areas as opposed to changing cheeses. You know, I think that's actually a good way to put it. Is a lot of the areas like Fungal Cavern, you change cheese, but the mechanics don't really change. It just means you're attracting different mice. You're moving your way up through the hierarchy. Whereas there might be other areas where changing the cheese, and now you need to change your hunting strategy, or the hunting's going to work differently. So that might be a good way to sum it up. If we have a hunting that gives a nod to what we have to do in the area, that's fine, like a warning when we're using the wrong cheese. Definitely, I think that is definitely a minimum going forward. And as well, I need to move along here, but we'll get to the laboratory overhaul, and that's what we're looking to do, is add a heads-up display to the laboratory and give you a nod in the direction of, you know, what cheese are you supposed to be doing. Tribal Isles is a better model for multiple area hunting than the Living Garden was. I think I'd agree with you, Ben. The mini-games in the Living Garden are enjoyable, says Joshua. I find design of them is intuitive and doesn't involve materials from other areas. Peter also likes multiple areas to hunt in, having one to gather cheese in the next. It's more enjoyable. Personally, I like the sort of psychological, like, oh, they're cashing out. Cash it out now. All the mice are worth. Like, how much cheese do you want to collect? Okay, now I'm gonna go into the mausoleum, and you feel thematic, like you're going into the danger zone. Right into the danger zone. All right, so some interesting thoughts there, some food for thought that I'll can share with the rest of the team as well. Like I said, we're going to be meeting to discuss those 2 law ideas, and the other thing that we are going to be, actually, I have one more law thing that I wanted feedback on for you. I got to speed things up here. It's taking me a while. Is reusing Varmint Valley resources. So as you can see in my handsome collage, wait, no, this way, there we go. It's always, yep, handsome collage. That was me awkwardly pointing. Is while we're fleshing this out, it came. Or occurred to us that it would be possible to reuse some existing resources into the design. So specifically, we're considering tin, copper, iron, coal, train badges, and fool's gold to use them in the new law area to some extent. Is this something you'd like to see? And if so, how should this affect the train? Should the train still be the best place to go and get your copper beads, or now in a higher rank location, should you be able to get beads a little faster than you could? KDM says no. Grant says yes. Little Boy says yes. Hazel says yes. Hey, hey, how's it going?
Hello.
Plus 9,000 to reusing train badges. Reuse as much as possible. Coal, you mean coal charms? No, I mean coal, literally. The in-game item called coal.
Hello everyone. How are you? Just making some oatmeal.
Some oatmeal.
Some oatmeal of oats.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Ah, nice one, dude. What's going on? By the way, that link, oh, okay, well, hey guys, it's now the Dave passed out because I punched him in the face show. Hi, Dave. Oh, it's like Weekend at Dave's.
Weekend at Dave's.
Just like that movie, exactly the name of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we're on this nice chair.
Trains should still be best. like Mausu Picchu and the Labyrinth Zocor. That's a perfect example, actually, is Glowing Greer, Nightshade, and Fungus gets used throughout 3 locations. So that's 4 locations, really. The Labyrinth, Zocor, Mausu Picchu, and Fungal Cavern. So that's a good example as well.
Yeah.
And you can always go back to the Labyrinth, back to the lab is the best place to collect Fungus and Nightshade.
There's many times in this office where we say something and then it turns into like, wait, we're quoting Rage Against the Machine.
There's a song lyric.
That one's technically a cover song. It's someone else's.
Sure, yeah, because it's on that.
But it makes us think.
Yeah.
Of.
Wait,
Zach!
remember that Whose Line Is It Anyway gag? Where it's like improv gag where you have to have a conversation but only using titles
lyrics.
of songs?
Or titles even? Yeah.
I guess maybe lyrics you could use as well.
Have you ever played the game where you can only communicate in questions?
Have I told you lately that I love you?
Yes. I already lost.
You're out!
I was about to say something. Oh, no, it wasn't actually real or important. It was okay. But that link you gave me to test, there was 7,000 sandblasted
good.
metal.
Oh, I only wanted 6,000. It's broken again.
No, it's out of balance.
Ryan says he'd like the Nanian Express to stay out of new areas, but at least give advance warning so we can do some trains to get them.
Yeah. I feel like you were required to use some of the badges.
Train badges.
Yeah, but it's never...
areas.
Yeah, there's some tweaks done there.
When big areas are self-contained, there's so much to do, so much to see, so
what? Green, hello? So, I don't know how much you missed what you last heard.
Let's try this again.
Make the trains great. Yeah, getting laggy. Materials would tie the train back into the progression of the game. And like it would be a tiny thing. It'd almost be a little like cross-pollination going on to it. I don't know if you've already touched on that.
Yeah.
Which would just kind of help unify things a bit and kind of like ease that burden. If like I hated trains, I skipped it. And then now it's like, well, you can still get those traps you missed out on because there's a little trickle of that stuff over here. And if you like this area better, then that helps sort of satisfy that a little bit.
That said, those traps only help you at the train. So if you don't want don't want to do the train, then you don't need the traps anyway. But
someone they said they could hear us sing. Good. Good.
That's definitely the highlight.
I like the duet. Excellent. There was someone said something that I meant to comment on. A little off topic. Oh, just asking a question about the wealth charms. That they caught an acolyte and with a wealth charm and equipment, it didn't give a lick of gold. So no extra gold at all. Because the way it works is there's a percentage that it takes from the mouse, and then there's still a cap of how much of that mouse's kind of drop it can give you. And I don't know, is it added directly to the mouse, or is it a separate entry?
I think it's a loot drop from the mouse.
So it adds it to their existing gold, or is it like a separate, like this much gold, and then another this much gold? I just can't remember.
The gold is dropped as loot,
yeah,
but it's not added to like the reward.
Oh, right, because that's not actually loot. Yeah. That's in their description, points and gold. Right, of course.
The journal tells you.
So then, if I'm reading correctly, they didn't even see it in the loot drop, which is a little strange. It should have been in the mouse's loot drop section. If you can elaborate on that. People want a Warpath theme. They want us to do a dab. Still a little laggy. Thanks, Dennis. Okay, yeah, I think we're back in business. Cool. Oh, there, Michelle's answering our question about the wealth charm. Thanks, Michelle.
All right, then quickly, because the last thing, because I want to get this feedback for our meeting this afternoon, is the laboratory in the Burroughs region overhaul. So as part of our continued effort to revamp new areas,
old areas.
Yeah, old areas.
Just to help bring everyone up.
The windmill, the town of Narnia, the mountain we recently did. We're now moving on to the Burroughs. Now it presents a unique challenge the way the progression's laid out. The way the areas are all linked together is a little bit awkward. So currently the lab is where you go and get radioactive blue cheese. Digby is pretty much just a trap smith to go and get a shadow trap. And the mausoleum is like your cash out area where you use your cheese and your trap to earn gold. At least as a master, that's some of the best gold you can earn. Complicating things a little bit more as well is that sort of the unrelated Big Bad Burroughs mouse, which is this currently above and beyond objective, doesn't really, you don't need it to keep moving forward.
Realistically too tough to get the first time you show up there. It's more just like come back later if you're ever here again. Now you can catch this like tough little hidden boss.
It's even sort of above and beyond what a master is meant to do.
Yeah. sort of like the sensei in the dojo. It's not a
Yeah.
necessary step.
And actually, we released it with our 3rd birthday with the Sensei, the Sylph, and the Big Bad Burroughs all came out as sort of above and beyond
Yeah.
bonus bosses.
And I believe none of them have an adventure associated with them either, right?
Yeah, no adventure to capture them. It's sort of not, expected of you.
Not expected.
So we want to keep the essence of these areas of like cheese collecting, cool trap, rewarding gold area, but sort of give them a little bit more substance to make a more meaningful adventure and make the region overall feel a little more cohesive and linear the way you're going through it. So we've been discussing a few things, and I'm interested to get thoughts from the chat, what you think about a few different ideas. I'll kind of list them off. You first in the lab using a chemistry set sort of inspired HUD, and you can choose whether you either want radioactive blue potions or you want radioactive sludge from the lab. And that would help the lab in Digby feel a little more cohesive since sludge is used in limelight cheese. So now the lab would have a stronger connection to both the mausoleum and the town of Digby. Now to make limelight cheese a little more cohesive, make it play a bigger role in the progression by having the mausoleum key unearthed when capturing an itty bitty Burroughs or a big bad Burroughs mouse. So that kind of smooths out things a little bit where you do need to use some limelight cheese before you could move on to the mausoleum.
Yeah, and kind of having more of a stepping progression there to more effectively work your way to the big bad Burroughs without it still being too easy or just totally nerfing that boss.
Yeah. And finally, make the drill bot potentially more of an accomplishment by having the Big Bad Burroughs drop a drill component that is a requirement to buy it. It would sort of give the Big Bad Burroughs more of a reason to go after it, but not mandatory. Or give the monolith base a unique effect in the area. So there's sort of this above and beyond goal of, well, if you go get the Big Bad Burroughs, you're going to be extra good while you're in the Burroughs region. So this whole sort of adventure that spans 3 areas, it'll really help you if you have either the base or the drill bot, or if you got the Big Bad Burroughs mouse, it's going to help you, but it won't really be a checkbox in the adventure anywhere. It'll just kind of be something you can do to better yourself.
And it could even, if we went so far as to have it where in Digby there's a little mini game to perform, and you collect from the itty bitty Burroughs mouse pieces of this drill, assemble it, and then that helps you slowly take on the Big Bad Burroughs. So
yeah,
instead of it being just like an off and on switch of like you got to catch him or you don't, and he's very tough, you progress your way toward eventually ensuring a catch on that mouse. If you like knock off the plated rocks on his back and slowly weaken the mouse or something like that.
Monolith for the win. I like giving the monolith an extra idea. Big Bad Burroughs is too tough for the reward to only be the Digby drill bot, doesn't it? Well, you got to kind of remember, it's probably been, you're probably high level, but a long time ago, especially when you're a master, the drill bot's quite the impressive physical trap. I do suppose event traps and Ronza traps would, you'd probably have one in your back pocket, potentially. So yeah, it might not be quite good enough.
Ashley Woods says that stepping stones are nice so long as they aren't too grindy. If it takes a week to complete it for a new player, people might quit too early, especially if they're missing too many mice. Yeah, it's a fair point. I think, though, hopefully by that point they've gotten to really be, getting into the feel of MouseHunt, because if you think about it, the town of Narnia has the bounty rewards, the harbor has the pieces, the mountain has the boulders, so you're starting to get the idea that, like, you sit for a little bit in an area and do something, and it's not too, sudden from, like, simple to just sudden grind.
Yeah.
If we were to do something like that.
It's quite the opposite, actually. Right now, everything is just super grindy, whereas this adds more granular steps.
Like you'll accomplish something.
You're making the next step along the path, and that's sort of something we've done now throughout Narnia, and we had a lot of great success. It's good to share that new players entering the game, they used to all quit very, very quickly, but now we're getting more and more of them all the way to the mountain. But then they get to the lab, and it's kind of like, what now? And so that's sort of the next thing to address. But we've definitely been having a lot of success going back and revamping some of the older areas. Somebody was asking about papyrus drops. I do believe there is a soft cap on that. So after you build the papyrus base, you will no longer obtain papyrus. You can no longer get any. And if you don't have the papyrus base, you can only have enough papyrus to craft the papyrus base.
Papyrus.
So basically, there's only so much papyrus in your lifetime you could ever loot, and once you've looted that much, you'll never get any more papyrus.
How many times did you eat papyrus in the last year? It's probably the most.
Papaya.
Papaya.
Want to go have some papaya for lunch?
Papaya, the fruit?
Wrap it.
Paella.
Paella.
I'll have some paella.
Oh, some papaya paella wrapped in papyrus. Cooked by a pirate.
Cooked by a pirate, of
and
course.
a walrus that I call a
walrus.
Because I mean, why
Because
wouldn't you call it
some prawns in there?
Well, you gotta have
There's
prawns.
some prawns, mate.
Prawns. Don't say the first part. Hello.
So I guess really now, what are your thoughts and ideas in regards to what you'd like to see updated in the Burroughs? We kind of got some temperature reactions, I guess, from
You got the
the
right temperature. All right.
Yeah.
It's 2 songs. We got 2
Two
so
songs.
far.
Good. Achieving a lot.
It's gotta be natural. You can't force it. That one came out nice.
It'd be possible to craft upgraded monolith base from, let's say, 3 to 6 pieces. That's an interesting idea. Cash in multiple monolith base for a new, stronger base. That's an interesting idea as well. And you can just like keep adding more monolith bases to this set. Use mining charms. Yeah, potentially. Excuse me.
Nice one, Dave. Someone asked
I do what I can.
Someone asked me real quick, what's the FBF about today? Is it about remaking older areas? There's a few things going on. Right now we're talking about the Labyrinth, Burroughs, and Mausoleum areas and sort of what kind of brainstorming we can do there.
Uh-oh. Mining charms, they would help you. They do increase the encounter rate of the big bad burrows, but we can make that more poignant, potentially. Poignant? No, that's bad. Is it poignant bad?
No, poignant's okay, good.
Isn't it like a reminder of a bad thing?
No.
No.
It's rather poignant, don't you think?
All right.
Look it up. Look it up.
Poignant.
Poig.
Come on, Google. How do you spell it?
Poignant. Another language is you wrist.
No, that's not it.
That's no. Nent.
Nent. Oh, missing an N.
Because it's
Pognant.
Poignant.
Evoking a keen sense of sadness or regret.
Oh no!
Yes.
Sharp or pungent taste or smell.
Oh,
That's
you
the
are
archaic.
quite poignant this morning.
But that's now stagnant or pungent. This is pungent. Burns.
Poignant pungence.
Poignant is
So
it's like
poignant
feeling
odor.
all the feels.
Okay.
All right, so you don't want to be poignant.
No, you don't want to be poignant.
Poignant.
It's like feeling all the feels.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's the new way to describe. Oh man, I felt all the feels.
Papaya,
Yes, it was quite poignant.
Papaya, papaya.
Paya.
All right, well, we better wrap things up. This is going on quite a lengthy amount of time.
No one caught on to Sean Paul.
Uh-oh.
Maybe have layers. What kind of layers? Like onions?
Ogres. So
Okay.
this week's trivia question, we always sort of end off on? I'm losing my mind.
That's rather poignant of you, Dave.
Yeah, that is poignant.
I can do this, and it looks
Oh,
weird.
yeah. Earthquake. It's a very unstable table.
Oh! Sorry, earphone users.
So this week's trivia question, the answer is not 48. Oh, it's close though. Oh, I almost want to modify it. It's close, yeah.
Someone just
It's
bang.
very close. It's in the 40s. Is in which region can you find the most spring hunt eggs? And I'll give you a hint. You can find 40 there.
Oh, okay. I see. Like across many areas within that region.
Poignant paella parmesan.
Which just makes you sad.
Are we
when you
losing
smell
our
it.
mind? Losing our mind?
Losing
Wish
our
somebody would tell me I'm fine. Losing my side. Narnia is correct. Ryan has the
Narnia.
answer correct first.
No, but he was like Narnia.
Yeah,
so
true.
you did it. No, just kidding.
So-
Narnia is correct. 40 eggs in Narnia.
Yeah,
her check. Hieronymus check.
Narnia is correct. There are 40 eggs. 43?
40.
I didn't count the bonus eggs.
Or unless someone's just guessing still.
But Narnia is correct at 40. And here's the
40.
reward link.
Ding, ding, ding. That is correct.
With 40 eggs to find. Reward link.
Reward link. Reward link for what? For
Yeah,
his
like,
heroic deeds?
For saving Zelda.
For saving Zeldon.
Zeldor.
Thank you, Zeldon, for saving Hyrule.
I am Zeldor the evil. I will
Oh no,
I will
it's
crush
Zeldor.
Lonk.
Not Lonk. Not
Not
Lenny.
today. Gandalf, stop him.
Gandalf, stop Zeldor.
40 is technically wrong since a lot of the eggs are repeated.
Oh, did
but
you
you
just
can
use the
find 40 eggs there.
No, because it's the same eggs. Like you can find the white egg across 3 areas, so it shouldn't add up to 40. Once you find
Oh,
that
but
once,
40
it counts
unique
for 3.
eggs.
No.
What?
No.
Are we doing
Go to
that?
Narnia.
Yeah.
White egg. That counts. You catch it once, 3 eggs go up on that list.
Well, that's not
I know it's
good UI.
That's bad UI. Yes. Like I have an area where I think I haven't gotten the gray egg yet, and it shows 3 missing because I'm missing the gray egg across 3 areas. Once I find it once, it'll just finish off.
Do not want.
It is broken.
Do not want.
So
Well, who knows the
I don't know
answer to
how
the question then? It's possible.
This
There's
slice
no way
that
to look
you're
up this answer.
Nice. Oh, that's where I am too. I'm trying to go for that Archduke egg.
Uh-oh.
Oh, don't mess up me. Oh, you ran out. You don't have any soapy or?
No, I'm out of soap germs.
Oh,
I know.
no.
It hurts. It hurts. All right, so Nadia's not correct, but we got to wrap things up. So that's your homework assignment this week: is figure out
Do the
where the
count
most
manually
eggs are,
take out the
and
unique eggs.
then criticize this interface.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a lag or delay between the chat and the video. Like, we see it, reply, but then obviously the video takes time to slice through the internet. Slices through the interwaves. That's how it works, right?
Interslice.
Interslice.
Ooh, the perspective's interesting there.
Yeah.
All right, well, on that note...
What? Dude, look, my hand's as big as your face, right? Just kidding, it's really small.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, there we go. I was like, no, I can't make my hand big enough.
Squishing your own face. Next one. 16 eggs and none, yeah. Oh, well.
Yep, that's way off.
Yeah.
Well, Larry has rewards anyway.
Uh-oh.
So this week's trivia question is actually homework, and Larry just has
find the
reward
region
for no
with
question.
the most unique eggs across all areas. Because one of them might say like 20, and it looks like less than 40, but it's actually 20 unique eggs, so each of the areas there's no repeats or
All
something
right,
like that.
I don't like that UI. I mean, no bueno.
Rodentia. Yeah, Rodentia might be it, because there's like each area is very different from the others, whereas Nani is a bit of a related mice zone.
Probably Rodentia. So this week's trivia answer is probably Rodentia. Thanks for joining us, Mouse Hunters, on this Friday the 13th. Oh, why don't we go and watch some comedies?
That's just like...
Get in the scary mood for comedies. Ooh.
Only you and I get that.
On Halloween, you can go watch comedy movies.
Okay, we can explain it. We had a friend. We were sitting around eating pizza, figuring like, well, what do you want to do? Want to watch some movies? Yeah, sure. It's like, what kind of movie do you want to go see? And he's like, what about a comedy? And it's like, is this supposed to be a spooky comedy? And then he was like, I don't know why I did that. And it just stuck. Forever. Classic Oscar. Oscar, if you're watching this, remember? There's no way. Maybe he finds this one day, 30 years from now. He's like, whoa, what? And his brain literally explodes. Sorry, Oscar.
Find your glasses.
Sorry.
All right, well, thanks for joining us, Hunters, for this lengthy Feedback Friday, covering a multitude of feedback topics. See you next week. Probably Jacob will be doing a live painting, would be my guess. Thanks for joining.
Probably.
Oh, I don't have a thanks for watching thing. I gotta
Thanks
get that
for
ready.
watching. Thanks for watch.
Need something to close on
Thanks
here.
for watching. Thanks for the watch. But thanks for the watch.
Thanks for the watch.
Thanks for the watch.
Thank you for the watch.
Oh, wow.
No, I can't.
Do it. Thanks for the watch.
Do it.
Hey, thanks for the watch. Oh, come on. Put a watch emoji in the text afterwards, and then it'd be like, oh, it's a joke.
Oh, I can't put emojis in here.
Yes, you can. It's Unicode.
Show me one.
Show me one emoji. Go ahead, make a new tab.
Happy hunting. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you for the watch.